Hey everybody, Alan Northern here giving you filmmaking tips and tricks. Quick question, have you ever wondered how films possess that magical ability to make you laugh or cry or to make you really scared? So first off, you've got to realize that there's a difference between displaying emotion in our screenplays and eliciting emotion in our screenplays. Displaying emotion or having a character laugh or cry doesn't necessarily translate to our audience or reader laughing and crying. Instead of making our characters cry, we've got to think, how do I make my audience cry? Instead of making our characters laugh, we've got to think, how do I make my audience giggle? How do I make them chuckle? How do I elicit strong, meaningful emotions in my audience? Well, you can do that by pressing the like button. So I know that 90% of you watching this video won't like this video, but if you'd like to be a part of the minority, the 10%, please like this video. You can push it to the top of the algorithm. All right, now let's get started. We elicit raw, meaningful emotions in our audience by establishing empathy. So when we establish empathy, we are building a bridge straight from the characters on your page out to our audience. Empathy allows for our audience to feel exactly what our character feels. Empathy makes it possible for audiences to identify with a character and experience emotion through him or her. In this video, you're going to learn about the 8 ways to establish empathy. Number 1, create sympathy for the character. You get the reader to feel sorry for our hero. Expose the audience to the hero's messed up, screwed up world. This will immediately begin to establish that connection between the audience and the character.
그래서 정말 돈 10% 떼고 주겠다는 거예요, 지금?
분량률에 비하면 페널티 적은 거지, 안 그래요?
이거 얼마나 한다고? 너무한 거 아니에요?
Quick tip, and this is an aside, introducing a character just to kill them in your screenplays will not make the audience cry. It will not make the audience feel anything. If you're going to create a meaningful death in your screenplays, instead of just merely killing off a random character, make that death count. Your audience can't even envision the story without the character in it. That's how you kill off a character properly. Your audience should think, how can the story even function without character so-and-so? Similar to what the writers did for Joel's daughter in The Last of Us.
Please don't. No. Okay. You're okay. You're okay. Move your hand, baby. Move your hand. Oh. I know, baby. I know. I know it hurts. Down. Come on, baby. You're okay. I know, baby. I know. I know this hurts. You're gonna be okay. All right.
Now, some screenwriters may believe the mere act of putting your character in jeopardy or in harm's way is a way to elicit emotion in your audience, and a way for the audience to empathize with the main character. That is not the case. I'm sure you can recall 1,000 television shows and movies where a main character died and you couldn't care less. Actually, in some cases, you were like, thank God that person's gone. Instead, I would say putting your character in jeopardy is a test to see if the following methods that I will mention in the rest of this video actually worked. But if you follow the advice mentioned in the rest of this video, creating a meaningful death in your story is not going to be a problem. Number 2, make a character likable or kind. To strengthen empathy for your hero, you could show them displaying characteristics of an overall good person. You're just displaying positive characteristics of that person. Are they funny? Are they clever? Display them being generous, conscientious. Do they care about their friends? Do they help their family?
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I've never met nobody like you. Had friends and I've had buddies. It's true, but they don't turn my tummy the way you do. I've never met nobody like you.
Number 3, make them intelligent or highly skilled. We'll empathize with characters like this because we want to be intelligent and highly skilled. So we'll automatically try to build a connection with that character to try to see what that missing piece is that that character has that we may not necessarily possess. Now, it's not enough to simply state that the character is highly skilled and capable of this or that. No, we've got to see that character in action. Number 4, give your characters recognizable flaws and eventually make them self-aware of those flaws.
Listen, little donkey. Take a look at me. What am I?
Really tall?
No! I'm an ogre. You know, grab your torch and pitchforks. Doesn't that bother you?
Number 5, give your audience a deeper reason to connect with your main character. Now, this reason usually involves the main character digging deep within themselves and changing, adjusting, or altering some deep-rooted philosophical or moral belief within themselves. For instance, at the very beginning of Everything Everywhere All at Once, we see Evelyn struggling to accept this new relationship that her daughter has with her girlfriend. But by the end, she's the one who introduces her daughter's girlfriend to her father. This informs the audience that she's not only willing to accept her daughter and her choices, but here we see that Evelyn is willing to stake her reputation with her father and her family values on this introduction as well. Number 6, demonstrate your character's power or influence. A great example of this would have to be that Elvis Presley biopic. We see Elvis start to, he's approaching the stage and the audience is like, okay, who's this guy? And then as he performs, the audience is like, oh, wow. And then they kind of feel his performance as, and then the girls start going crazy. So to illustrate this rule, 3 things has to happen in your screenplay. So 1, your character must know he has this power. Number 2, characters around him or her must respond to the character having that power. And number 3, you've got to demonstrate just how powerful or influential this power is to your audience. In other words, you've got to showcase that power to your audience or reader. Whether it's superior intellect, as Hercule Poirot showcases in Death on the Nile, whether it's her superior style, Miranda Priestly demonstrates in Devil Wears Prada, wealth, high stature, or whatever special ability your character has. If the audience sees that power demonstrated, your audience will have a ton more respect for that character on the page and on the screen. But remember, it's not enough to just show that the character has these powers. He or she has to be in touch with that power and acknowledge that he has that power in some form or another. This power could be a superpower, power to express one's feelings regardless of others' opinions. Your main character's unwavering faith, as Will Smith demonstrates in Emancipation.
Be a good slave. To be obedient to your masters. Is that what God says to you?
God says many things. I do not know why. God shows himself to some people and not to others.
Number 7, place your characters in familiar settings. Every aspect about where your character is from, where they work, to the way he's been brought up can be used for audiences to empathize with your character. Even showcasing how your main characters live at home, as we've seen in Parasite, can be used to empathize with your audience.
창문 닫아.
나도 봐. 공짜로 집안에 소독도 하고 곱등이도 없애고.
그래. 요새 곱등이 너무 많아.
Finally, number 8, make your hero the eyes for your audience. If your audience knows just as much information as your character, then that places them at the same spot psychologically, emotionally, mentally. Now, if the audience knows something that the character doesn't, that's typically used to build tension, which we'll talk about in another video. Anyway, if our audience learns information at the same time as our hero learns that same information, our hero's eyes and the audience's eyes are one. So over time, even your character's little quirks and nuances that makes your character so special begin to latch onto your audience. All right, guys, hope you learned something. If you'd like to watch my film, it's on Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, Plex, and a lot of streaming platforms. Also, I'm gonna be releasing my Clover Key on Shopify soon, so there's gonna be links around this video very soon. I'll give it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks from the day this video was released. So I'm just telling you that so that you can anticipate some links being around my page. So you'll be seeing the Clover Key link, so you can just click on it and buy it, pick it up. Definitely consider subscribing if you're new. I make content pretty much every week. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Until next time, see ya.